Hey everybody, it's time for Came from GenX. I'm with my boys Skinner and Fish. Exciting show coming up here. We're going to talk about one of the last surviving members of Pearl Harbor. We're going to talk about the big Aaron Rodgers sports trade. Also, what's your favorite sports movie? Is it Rocky? Is it Rudy? We're also going to talk about the check, the blue check in Twitter. They want to charge you for it now. Big deal to you. Check us out and more to come. Here we go.
This is an It Came From GenX video.
Hey, what's happening, people? It's time for It Came From GenX. Keith Porter here alongside Michael Skinner, Ryan Fisher, a.k.a. Fish and Skinbone. We're glad to be here with you on our little fun ride through life through the eyes of Gen Xers. Got some fun, interesting topics tonight, which we always do. At least I like to think so anyway. But before we do that, let's say hi to the fellas. Fish, what's going on with you, butt?
How are you, man?
Great.
Yeah, good. Good to be here. Fun weekend. I'll talk a little more about that till we get to our reviews and stuff like that.
Okay.
But, yeah, doing well, except for last night. When you get a little older, you can't go out and hang out at the bar like you were when you were 20s and your 30s. So
you can't do anything like you could in your 20s and 30s, but go ahead.
You're right about that. Hung out with a buddy, Jim, till like 10 o'clock last night, just sitting there talking and hanging out. I'm just like, what were we possibly thinking? I don't know. So long day today, but feeling good now. Glad to be here with you guys.
10 o'clock. I used to come home at 7 in the morning. I
know. It's like,
I laugh when I hear 10 o'clock. What?
Well,
I didn't even go out yet.
Well,
all those weekends that we went to those establishments, and then we went to the after hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yes, we were in the days leaving the house at midnight to go out. That was like the norm.
That was me. That was me.
Yep. Crazy.
All right. What's up, Skinner?
Hey, how's everybody doing out there?
Good. At least I know how part of your weekend was.
Yep. Got to spend time with Mr. Porter and our favorite listener, Pamela. It was a nice night. The Elvis impersonator came back to the area, so we had dinner and a show. And the look on Marcy's grandma's face when she got serenaded too just made the entire night for me.
Priceless picture, yeah.
So, yeah, good weekend. Kind of not much happened yesterday. We hung out in the bedroom for a while and watched TV, and then we finally decided, well, let's go look for some wedding stuff. So we're still in the process of getting ready for that May 13th. So,
all right, looking forward to that day. And just before I came to do the show, Pam wanted me to tell you what a great time she had. So, I'm coming off a heck of a weekend. On Thursday I had rehearsal in Cleveland with Rock Generation. It was a full-blown photo shoot, then rehearsal. So I went there at 6. I got there like 11:30. By the time I got something to eat and I got home, it was 1:30. Had to get up the next day at 1, go get drums in Medina, drive all the way to Massillon, set up and do a show there. And I just got to give a big shout out to all the people at Lou's in Perry Township. It was a wonderful staff. And man, what a show. It was probably one of the best shows I've ever been a part of in my life. Just the crowd, the energy, everybody dancing, everybody singing the words. I had so much fun, and I got to give big love to my BPM brothers, Eric Brook, Canton's favorite son, in my opinion, and Al McKenzie, one of the most talented individuals I've ever been around. Both of them are just amazing. Al, every time he comes off the road from Turbo Firehouse, loves to get with BPM and put on a show. So a big shout out to everybody at Lou's on Lincoln Way out in Perry Township. Check the place out. Also, Saturday, I don't know, man. I had a great time with the Elvis impersonator last time. This time, I think I had more fun at the table than I actually did with the show. Putting up with the Skinner family, I tell you, man, between Teresa, Mike, and Marcy, I don't know, man. I'm surprised we didn't get kicked out of that place.
I'm surprised Grandma didn't kick us out of
and
there.
Grandma was about to punch me in the head a couple times. She made that real clear. So that was a blast. I needed that, as exhausted as I was. Definitely was glad to get some rest, man. So excited to get back to the show. And I gotta say this. Last week, I went to take a nap around 6 a.m. and my sister went screaming through the walkie-talkie. I ran downstairs. She told me she thought she heard gunshots. We didn't hear a peep outside. I lay down for 20 more minutes. My niece comes over 30 minutes later, sweating, panting. I was like, "Where's your truck?" She said, "I had to park 2 blocks away and walk through the crime scene." They had the blocks around it. They were on people's porches with flashlights, and they had picked up 40 shell casings already. I'm like, this is absolutely insane around here. So, to you morons firing guns, they have ranges. Go to the range. All right? Go to somebody's farm. Stop putting people's life in jeopardy. That's just absolutely horrifying to think 40 rounds fired right across the street from my house. So I just want to tell you, let's cut the dumb stuff, people. I don't think any of our listeners are doing stupid stuff like that, but I'm really sick of it, man. But just want to thank God everybody was safe. No bodies were found. Nobody was shot. And wanted to put that out there. All right. Finish telling where you can find the show.
All right. Yeah. Well said, Keith. And we fully expect our listeners, by the way, we know that they have similar reactions to listening to us as Grandma did listening to the Elvis impersonator. We can picture the smiles.
Oh, but she melted. She melted.
Absolutely. That's right. Especially in Germany. I don't know why.
The picture of the smile on her face and then Pam with that scarf wrapped around her face smelling it. I tell you, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, actually, we're going to start adding to our merch store, our podcast merch store, used scarves that Keith wears in concert, stuff like that.
Hey, I don't know about in concert, but one that I wear. They'll like that.
Yeah, rehearsal, whatever. So look for those. It's going to be $1 for one and 50 cents for two, something like that. So check that out.
$2.50 with a free bottle of nasal spray with it.
All right. Well, you might be listening to us on podcasts, where you listen to podcasts on demand. We can be found on all major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Stitcher, you name it, we're probably there. Just pull up the It Came From Gen X podcast, give us a follow or subscribe. And as we post new episodes, we'll pop into your podcast feed free of charge. You might be watching, you might be watching us on our YouTube channel. It Came From Gen X. Full-length videos and segments are there. You might be watching us as well on our channel on the Bosco Media TV network. You can find them on your smart TV or portable device. Download, subscribe, and we're on there with other creative content. All show information, 2 main places. Our Linktree page is simply Google Linktree. It Came From Gen X. It's simply a page with links to social media where you can find us, etc. Or our website. If you go to one place, just go to the website, itcamefromgenx.wordpress.com. All show information's there. Promos, bios, ways to sponsor the show, links to videos, links to episodes, links to where you can listen to us. All kinds of good stuff is there. And if you do anything at all, follow, share, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, helps others find the show and find us. And we appreciate your support out there.
Yes, we do. Thank you all very, very much. Also, big shout out to There's the Reason. He is the reason you are checking us out on Boss Code Media Network. And big love to the man we call the boss, Michael Skinner Jr., for producing our podcast in wonderful fashion every single week. Always faithful, always on top of it, and always doing an excellent job. And our man Brian Fisher, who puts out a video that's just outstanding work. Check our video out on YouTube and Facebook if you're listening to the podcast. A lot of extra stuff added into it, man. It's just really great. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Skinner's going to take a little bit of a different approach today. Got some interesting stuff. How about some world news, Skimbo?
Well, first of all, shout out to my son Michael Skinner Jr., our boss, and
he just did that.
a hell of. Yes. Reason I say that is I get to spend some time with him this weekend. Me and Marcia and my dad head into the DC area in Maryland. Spend a long weekend, so I'm looking forward to some time.
That's cool. Nothing like time with the sons, man.
Of course, we'll expect the show to be edited prior. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. So we're going to start on that note. We're going to start in Houston, Texas, where Elon Musk and the SpaceX Starship $3 billion rocket unmanned went up in flames on 420.
Hey, if you got the money.
No pun intended on the up in flames and on 420, but 4 minutes into the flight,
wow,
the rocket failed to separate from the big booster.
Fuselage.
So it 4 minutes in, took a U-turn and went right straight into the Gulf of Mexico. So thankfully, one, it was unmanned, and two, nobody got hurt from that. But that I'm sure they got insurance for reasons like this. So $3 billion to us is unthinkable money, but to that program, it's probably just I hate to say it, but probably chump change. So,
well, wait till we start selling Keith scarves.
Keith scarves with there you go. That's gonna do it.
That's right. That's right.
Next, I want to go to Riverside, California. A suspected drug trafficker is on the run after stealing 60 pounds of meth. That constitutes 27 kilos. And this meth belonged to the California Sheriff's Department. He got the drugs from an apparent undercover sting that went wrong. That is all the information I can find right now, and you bet your booty I'm going to try to find out what else happened with this. Talk about dumb criminals in the news. This is dumb police work in the news, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, no story on who the guy is, or
they don't name the suspect. They don't name the department that the drugs got taken from. It just announced that it happened, and it happened in California.
So the moral of the story is somebody getting fired.
Yeah, sounds like it. Sounds like it. But I thought it was interesting.
Hey, Johnson, get in here. Good job with that sting. Now, where'd you put the drugs at? Huh?
What drugs?
The drugs. We need the drugs. Huh?
Oh, man.
Yeah, about that. All right.
So lastly, we're going to go to Provo, Utah, where Ken Potts, he died on Friday, April 21st at the age of 102 years old.
Wow.
He was one of the last two survivors of the USS Arizona.
Wow.
Now, for those that don't recognize what that is the naval ship that was bombed by Japan at Pearl Harbor back in 1941. I've had the pleasure and the honor to visit that memorial, and it sent chills up my spine just thinking about what happened that day. Now, if you've ever seen the movie Pearl Harbor, Ben Affleck is in it and a couple others. It's a long movie.
That was good, but the newer one is even better. Amazing.
Yeah, if you've got a chance, if you haven't seen those, they depict the story pretty well. I can't imagine what these people went through, what these sailors and soldiers went through back in 1941. in the mainland, not knowing what happened to one of their states because of the technology back then. Everything was done by Morse code or by telegram. They didn't have a cell phone or CBs or satellite radios that we have today. So it took time for the information to get from Hawaii to back to the mainland. So I don't think either one of you have been to Hawaii. If you ever had the ability to go, it is one fantastic place. And me, obviously, being a military person myself, I'm a little special to my heart going to visit and paying my respects to those men and women that died that day. Never forgotten, never, the world changed that day. I don't know if it
That's for
changed for the
sure.
better or for the worse, but the world changed that day. And
I think that
December
would be a good
7th.
question to pose. I think it'd be a
Go for it.
fantastic question.
Go for it.
Well, okay. That's really hard to answer. Definitely. Let me take the low road first, or the less popular answer, I should say. Definitely for the worst. I am one of those that believe that this was a certainly not false flag. That's not what I'm trying to use, but I believe America knew they were coming. Our president. I believe that the powers that be wanted to enter the war. It wasn't a very popular decision amongst Americans, and this was an opportunity to win. I think it's the same thing that happened with the whole 9/11 thing and the Patriot Act. Let people think their freedom and safety is being threatened, and we know, hey, here are the keys, whatever. Take all my rights, whatever you need. I thought this pulled us into the war. Now, it was a good thing in the fact that, and I remember seeing this in a documentary, the title summed it up well. It said, how did it put it? A superpower was born. America was a pretty good country up until that moment. It wasn't until World War II we became a superpower. It became something completely different. Obviously, with dropping the bombs, and Nagasaki and all that stuff. But I think it changed Americans. You look what it did to our women having to go into the workforce after all the men went off to war. Our women became more empowered. The men, we lost a lot of good men, but it changed the men in this country too as well. There's a lot of negative things that happened when the men came back from war. We had a lot of drug addicts, okay? We got a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder, all that other stuff. So I don't think you could definitively say one way or the other. I think there's a lot of good and a lot of bad with it. You can go on and on each side, as far as I'm concerned. But I think this nation was woken up, regardless of the fact that I believe that we got pulled in this on purpose by our own government. I think this nation was awakened by World War II and by what happened at Pearl Harbor, that's for sure, to really seize the moment of who we could be and what we could be as far as the superpower on this planet. So that's my thoughts.
That's well said. Fish?
Oh, man. I can't add a whole lot more than that, man. It's just obviously it's a very tragic thing. And I think certainly after that, we weren't attacked on our own soil until 9/11, all those years later. I think as a result of, people may have thought about it at that time, but up until that time, rather. But after that, I don't think anybody even remotely thought about attacking us until 9/11. So yeah. I don't know that we'll see it again at that scale.
Yeah, and I want to apologize to you that I didn't mention the worst part of all of this, the loss of life at Pearl Harbor. Sure. Lots of young men, lots of young people on their ships doing their job. I mean, that had to be just horrific, man. That last movie just blew me away with some of the detail and some of the stories that were shown in there. So that was the worst part of all.
Yep. All right. Very good, fellas.
I'll mention with the rocket ship, by the way, too. We didn't touch on that. It's like Isn't it? I mean, to me, anyways, I think it's nuts that we have these rich guys developing spacecraft and not necessarily our own space program. I know NASA's, they did the moon. They're planning another moon launch coming up, of course, with a pretty diverse crew and everything like that. So that's kind of neat. I hear that we're preparing and we're getting closer to potentially, developing a Mars landing of some sort with humans. I don't know how far along that is and all that, but it's just, you see more development, it seems like, from these rich guys lately than I get our own space program.
That's a
I just think
great
that's
point.
odd.
That is
I don't know.
really great point. What is NASA doing? We've heard about Branson. We've heard about Musk. What is NASA doing of the late?
I don't know if they have the funding. Like I said, they're doing the moon launch soon.
Wow. That's a really great point. Yeah.
But I don't know. Just weird.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be
never
that
thought
way.
of it that way.
It just shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way where you're relying on rich guys doing their own thing versus our own space program.
There's
something wrong somewhere.
But yeah, you got the owner of Tesla and Twitter, and you got the owner of Amazon flying up into orbit. But
and the
NASA
Virgin Records guy as well. I mean, he did some type of shuttle or something like that too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to be more of a space travel for money and leisure versus exploring
technology,
space.
Yeah, and all that other stuff. Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting
point.
When you watch the opening to Star Trek Enterprise, which is one of my favorite opening songs, the first time they added words, sung by Rod Stewart. It's an amazing song. But if you watch the opening montage, it shows the evolution of man's travel from being on the seas to the wheel, to airplanes, to stellar space travel, outer space travel. It shows that, and it's like, it's so accurate. It feels like we're right in the middle of what that show is saying, where we are, and like we're moving towards it almost being entertainment more than exploration anymore. It's really interesting. Even with Picard, by the way, whoever did season 3 of Picard, they better get an Emmy. I saw the finale. I don't even have the words. Wow. Unbelievable. Anyway, okay. So thanks a lot, Skinner. That's good stuff, man. Poses a lot of questions. All right, let's get to some sports and music, guys. The big news in sports today, I didn't think it was going to happen for a minute, but the Green Bay Packers have traded Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. It has helped continue to stack the AFC with not only powerhouse team, but with top tier quarterback play. They got a ton of picks. If we want to get more exact, see what they got, because I want to ask the question: who's this going to benefit the most? So,
yeah, there's like 4 picks or something like that, 3 or 4 picks.
Yeah,
and it's not super high either. It's only a couple picks better than.
They got 15 this year's class, and a 5th round pick. They got 5th round pick too. Yeah, and then the rest is later. It's not the haul you would think it is.
No, it's just a few picks.
Yeah, but you got to remember too, they're saving like a ridiculous lot of money on their salary cap too.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think this benefits the most, Fish?
I think the long run, the Packers. Frankly, I mean, I think that. Aaron Rodgers, as great of a talent as he is, I mean, frankly, he has not done well in the playoffs for several years. I don't know that I don't think they were going to get any better with him. You talk about what do you have, maybe a year or two, and then you're going to you risk really some decline. It gives them a chance to start the young kid. I can't think of his name right now that they drafted, but
Jordan Love.
Thank you. so they get a chance to see what he does. You don't have Aaron Rodgers whining and again, you have all that weird behavior that he has, and it's just he's just a prima donna behavior from a guy who's frankly not winning you multiple championships. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I think Green Bay's like, see you later. We're moving on. And then for the Jets, they got a, 1-2 years tops.
Yeah.
If they don't win the Super Bowl with him, it's probably considered a bust for them.
Yeah,
you got to start all over again.
I'd have to agree with you, though. I think Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets makes the Jets one of the teams to beat. They got our boy from Ohio State. They've got some great receiving talent. They have a young team, obviously a young, almost playoff team. I think they're going to be outstanding this year. However, you said it best. Aaron Rodgers has not produced well in the playoffs. So I think if he would have got traded, if he wanted to maximize his opportunities in his late years, he should have went to a dome team. Because you're still in a AFC, or when you move to an AFC cold weather stadium team, and I think you're going to have the same results. You're going to have an outstanding regular season. You're going to get to the playoffs and you're going to falter. If he was smart, he should have pushed for a dome team somewhere where he could stay in warm weather. They get playoff advantage, and maybe change his fortunes, man. Because you would think at home in that weather, he ain't Brett Favre. With all the mistakes Favre made, Favre strived in that frozen tundra playoff weather, and it just doesn't seem to be benefiting Aaron Rodgers as much. So I agree with you. Skinner, your thoughts?
I agree with Fisher. I think this benefits Green Bay in the long run. All the picks, they're going to have a few busts here and there, but for the most part, they're going to be able to fill a lot of holes that they've had over the last few years.
Yeah.
And they're going to have the no more distraction from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
all this,
there you go.
I'm going to call it shenanigans, because he had a lot of outside interferences, whether it was self-induced or not. He had a lot of interferences that had to have hurt the team, truthfully. So,
yeah.
Are the Jets better now?
Without question.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They're going to be outstanding. Watch.
But if I have one piece of advice for Aaron Rodgers, is don't be Tom Brady. Get out before it's too late.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
I agree. So no more shenanigans. Big time money on the salary cap. Your wide receiver crew certainly stepped up at the end of last year and became pretty good. So you're going to have Jordan Love growing up with these guys, and you got money to fill in the holes, like you said. Jets have an opportunity to win now, though. But like Fish said, it's 1 or 2 years to forget it, man. So we'll see.
They're not going to be good enough, in my opinion, to get past the other AFC powerhouses.
No,
the Chiefs
not even.
and
No,
the Bengals and
no,
Bills
no.
are just too tough. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're just way too tough, man. Steelers, yep, way too tough.
Chargers, maybe. Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on there. I mean, let's not forget, Cleveland. Cleveland's, see what they do with the money they just saved this year. If Lamar comes back to Baltimore, don't forget the Bengals. I mean, it's a lot. Okay, guys, and we don't talk a lot about UFC. Nate Diaz, who I used to kind of like a lot because he smacked Conor McGregor in the mouth once, and I appreciate that. Has had a warrant issue for his arrests for choking out a guy in a bar fight. Nate Diaz seems trouble always seems to find Nate Diaz. And it's just amazing. There's these certain athletes who just seem to never be able to get out of their own way. So I thought we'd look at and who you think was the most troubled athletes of all time. And you don't have to think of them. I got a little list here. Man, I tell you what, geez. This list can go on and on and on and on and on. Wow. I can't name all these, man. I got a list of 50 right here and there. So I'm gonna pick a few here. We got see Michael Vick, Jamal Lewis,
Mike Tyson.
definitely Mike Tyson, Ray Rice, Plaxico Burress, Lance Armstrong,
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, Ray Caruth, Oscar Pistorius, O.J. Simpson, Aaron Hernandez. Well, you know what? And we did this something similar to this before, and same rules apply. We're going to eliminate Aaron Hernandez, O.J. Simpson, and Ray Caruth. Out of respect, people's loss of life was there, and there's no way to qualify or quantify that. That is the ultimate trouble. So we'll stick with the Ray Rice, Plaxico Burress, Lance Armstrong, Tiger Woods, and see who else we got. Pete Rose, Lamar Odom, Michael Vick, Ryan Leaf. Did I say Ray Rice already? Yeah. Okay. Any names stick out to you in that list, Skinner?
On that list, the first one that came to mind was Aaron Hernandez.
No, we're going to eliminate the guys who were
I know
homicide.
that. I know that. I'm saying out of that list that you did prior to you removing him from that list, that was the first name that came to mind. God, there's so many, and I hate to say it, but there's so many, and most of them came out of the NFL. I'm kind of going to go that route.
Well, you know, the guy I got to go with the most, because it was just one thing after another. That would be Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I mean, you hit the top. Then there was the biting of the ear, the going to prison, the low blow. Come on, dude. The verbal attack of the interviewer. This guy just can't seem to stop getting out of his own way when he was boxing. He's been pretty cool as of late, but he was certainly a train wreck for the longest. I mean, you talk about somebody who was at the ultimate top of their field and just blew it all the way, man. I mean,
he was the biggest star on the planet.
My goodness! Every rap song was mentioning Mike Tyson. Every TV show was mentioning Mike Tyson. Every comedy, he was just like pop culture phenomenon, man. But he just could not get out of his own way. It seemed like he make a comeback. I'm a bite Vander Holyfield ear off.
I remember when he was
so strange. So
I remember when he was. Go ahead, Fish. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I just remember in his rise. I remember all of us rushing home from work to get to that pay-per-view that he was going to be involved in, and that pay-per-view was worth. It lasted 50 seconds. I think, what was the shortest one? 10 seconds was the shortest
he
one.
Had some short ones, man.
I just remember us. I was never a huge boxing fan per se, but there was something about seeing Iron Mike in the ring.
Oh, there was nothing like it. There was nothing like it, man. You
got
so hyped.
Young. Spectacle.
I was too young to see Ali.
Yeah, there was so much excitement watching him pace back and forth, eyeing out his opponent. When he had the beady eyes locked in and was walking back and forth, you were so pumped up, man. It was more exciting than the fights were sometimes, man.
And then it was over before it started.
It was over before it started, man. I never forget, when he fought Spinks, and I'm looking at Spinks, look down at him, sweating with a fear of. I said, "Oh, this is about to be over with quick." That dude was so freaking scared, and Tyson was like this.
Yeah,
like, I'm about to eat you alive.
That makes you wonder what his career would have been like if he could have kept it together.
My favorite Mike Tyson joke is, what do you do if Mike Tyson slaps your girlfriend? You look at her and go, "What did you do?"
Right. And I think King had a lot to do with his demise too.
Oh yeah, King messed him up a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know, that guy just, I'm not going to talk bad about him, but
I hope my
think
buddy don't listen to the show because King's his godfather. But yeah, I think he screwed that kid up bad. He lost a lot of his role models. Custody model died. And he was just left to the wind, and he needed guidance bad, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't count the Buster Douglas did not defeat Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson defeated Mike Tyson. Buster Douglas just happened to be there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he when he talks about all the things he did, it's a wonder he lasted as long as he did. Any of those guys stick out to you, Fish?
Let's see. Beyond tight. I mean, I had Pac-Man Jones in my mind.
Yo, he was horrible. Too. Yeah, he was always in trouble.
Yeah.
So, we mentioned him like a week or so ago. Jerry Jones had to hire security around the guy because he was always in trouble.
Right.
You know what I'm surprised you didn't mention though? Michael Irving. Because it seems to be one thing after another with him. He's got this issue going on now. I don't know if he's innocent or guilty.
I think he was cleared from that. I think they dropped those.
Yeah, he's got this thing going
allegations
on.
Were,
but remember, he was in the hotel with the cocaine, and but he got in so much trouble when he was in Dallas. It was like one thing after another with that guy, man. Just like, dude, come on. But you want to talk about an athlete, really? Maybe the greatest of all time, or at least greatest linebacker of all time. He's got a real trouble past, and of course we're talking about the great Lawrence Taylor. He's another that just cannot seem to get out of his own way. Darryl Strawberry, really trouble. Yeah, man, that dude did more.
Lance Armstrong's another good one you mentioned there. So just the disgrace, and there's a very good, I think it's on Netflix. There's a very good documentary on him where he interviewed him even fairly recently. Just an amazing story. Just how high and popular he was, and then just how all the way down he fell because of his own doing, basically. So very interesting stuff.
Yeah, and John Daly.
We failed to say somebody too. Played at Ohio University. I think his name's Ben Roethlisberger, is that what his name was?
Oh, shut up. He didn't do nothing. He never did nothing. And he played at Miami of Ohio. So get your facts straight.
He played in Ohio.
Yeah, whatever. John Daly was another one. Lots of issues with the...
he was just in Akron recently. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
That was actually last fall. He was over at Hoban High School, and somebody dared him to hit a golf ball over to the stadium. Did you not? You didn't hear about that?
No.
So he's in his bare feet, his Hawaiian shirt, teed off with the driver from up there at Hoban High School, and hit a target over on the football field.
Wow.
Yeah. Look
like
that
John
up.
Daly.
It's on the internet. Check that out. Oh yeah, I'm sure he did.
Okay, guys, while we're talking about sports, recently the movie Air has opened up. Very, very lots of anticipation of this movie. Talking about the relationship between Nike and Air Jordan. I'm looking forward to seeing that. It has the makings of being one of the classic sports movies of all time. I thought it would be fun to pick our top 3 sports movies of all time. Very, very difficult choice to make to 3. I'm sure all of us could go quite a while with the sports movies. So these is not saying these are best 3. These are the top 3 that we can pick off the riff. And Fish, I will start it off with you. Top 3 and why?
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones there. I'm gonna not necessarily, I don't know. I guess in order. Rocky, just interesting story. Obviously based on true events, and we talked about Rocky recently on the podcast. But certainly launched Stallone's career and a franchise of fun movies. I could almost pick various movies within the Rocky franchise as well. But the first one was obviously the beginning. Very good movie, won a lot of awards. I like Major League just from an entertainment perspective. Obviously, it's just different sentimental value being in
I
Northeast
was just thinking
Ohio.
about Major League. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's certainly the fictional story of the Cleveland Indians winning the pennant and making the playoffs. Just fun movie, great acting, very fun, interesting characters on the team and the manager. And it just generates excitement. I know exactly what's going to happen in the game, as it progresses, but it still gets me in the moment every time I watch that movie with anticipation and everything else. And one of my favorite movies of all time, just fun, goofy, Caddyshack. So I watch it every
Still in
season.
my
It's a
thunder. Yeah.
great summertime
Nothing
movie.
better.
It's one of the most quotable movies of our generation, I think, anyway, if not all time. If you're a Gen X person on the golf course, if you have not quoted Caddyshack at least a few times, then I don't know
something ain't right.
what you got going on exactly.
Something ain't right. Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Fisher, I think you and I probably hit about 10 or 12 quotes when we were out there together last. Yeah, it was almost starting to get old, but it was so much fun. All right, hey, let's keep it interesting. He stole my thunder, Skinner, of course, with Caddyshack in Major League, and I was going to say the same thing, just from an entertaining perspective. How could you not love those movies? So make sure you pick 3 he didn't pick, because certainly Rocky 1 and 2 was going to be mine. So steer away from any that he picked. Give me another 3.
I gotcha. Yeah, he took mine with Major League. So I'm gonna put Rudy.
Yeah,
one
great
of mine.
movie. Great movie.
Kid that made the team. That was from 1993. It's a feel-good story. I hate Notre Dame football. They're the most overrated football team in the history of college football, in my opinion. But that movie is fantastic. From the story, from the perseverance of one kid saying, "I'm going to play someday," and he fulfills his lifelong dream to play, even if it was just one play.
And that's it. It's a story of triumph summed up in a play. He was triumphant in getting in. Well, he wanted to get dressed. That was his goal, to be dressed.
Right.
But his triumph was summed up in all those years in one play. And I thought that was remarkable and a true story.
Yeah, yeah. So you can go on and on about all these other ones. My number 2 was going to be Major League, but I'm going to go with Happy Gilmore. Is another fantastic, hilarious Adam Sandler movie. We talked a little bit about him in a previous show, but it's a sports movie. It has to do with golf and hockey in a comedic way. But there were so many stars in that movie. It was fun. The Bob Barker scene, I think I mentioned that when we talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
When he gets his butt kicked by Bob Barker, I still laugh hysterically every time I see that part.
Classic.
You got Lee Trevino, who's a Hall of Fame golfer. That's always, you see him in different parts of the movie just shaking his head. But my number 1 favorite movie of all time, and I'm going to go with baseball, is Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner and Bruce Earl Jones, all the legendary people that they had coming out from the cornfields to play that one game. It's a movie of, I don't know how to describe it. A true baseball fan will absolutely adore and love this movie, and that's exactly what happened with me. For the first time I saw it, it was just a movie that just makes you think about all the greats in the past, and I've never seen a movie that depicts that in the way that Field of Dreams does.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, good stuff, man. Wow, this is tough stuff. I definitely wanted to pick with Rocky 1 and 2, so I'm going to move away from those right now. Number 1, I'm going to go with Remember the Titans.
Another fantastic movie.
Just a great story. Another based on a true story and situation.
True events, yeah.
And I love anything that shows the positive results of coming together, going beyond our differences and things like that. And I thought this movie was just done so good. A lot of great lines in that movie. Denzel, one of my favorite actors, did an amazing job. So just an awesome
They
movie.
casted him perfectly.
Yeah, they did. I gotta go with Creed. My number 2. Just to see the Rocky story extended. Not the son of Rocky, but the son of Apollo Creed. I thought that was just done so excellent. I love that movie. I love Creed 2, maybe even better. I'm not sure. But I'll put Creed 1 and 2 in my next spot. The third one is really, really tough. Man, I got to give an honorable mention to the Karate Kid. That was just something we grew up with. It was a great story. I thought the message of taking on bullies and learning how to fight on your terms was tremendous in that movie. And of course, we see the extension of that now, years later, 30 years later, with Cobra Kai. So only honorable mentions to them, but I'm gonna throw a left curveball in here, guys. I like this much, but I thought it was so well written, and it could have got a lot more fanfare. But I thought Draft Day was an outstanding movie. It was geniusly written. If you ever seen that with Kevin Costner about the Cleveland Browns leading up to Draft Day, and the players that they were going to select, man, what an awesome movie! And it was like, whoa, you didn't see that coming at the end there. I thought that was a really, really great movie. So I wanted to put not Field of Dreams, but A League of Their Own in there as well. And maybe I'll swap that. I'll put A League of Their Own in there and give an honorable mention to Draft Day, because League of Their Own, I did not know was going to be as funny and entertaining as it was. And I want to give some love to the ladies. So League of Their Own to be my number 3. That was a great movie, man. Gina, what's her name, is just always awesome. So those are my 3.
Davis.
Gina Davis. Yeah. So great.
Madonna,
great movie.
Your girl Madonna's in that movie.
Oh, I know. It's 2 people I can't stand, Madonna and what's her name, the comedian. And
Rosie
they were
O'Donnell.
buddies. Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie
They were buddies.
O'Donnell,
They were buddies in that movie. So, so they
Tom
did a
Hanks.
great job. Yeah.
Of course, Tom Hanks played a hell of a part as the manager of that team.
Okay. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for sports. Let's move on to a little bit of music news today. Not a whole lot, but the Motley Crue on this day debuted. Read the facts for me there, would you, Fish? I don't want to mess up my recorder here.
That's right. It's this day in 1981, they made their debut at the Starwood in West Hollywood, and they opened up for Y&T. This is from Rip Magazine on online here, and they said that Nikki Sixx smashed his bass into the face of a belligerent Y&T fan. Tommy Lee nailed a guy with a drumstick. Vince Neil punched another audience member in the head. Mick Mars perfected his signature move of simply keeping his head down and shredding guitar. So,
wow, what a start!
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously, from there, they, of course, hit it big.
They calmed down and turned into choir boys after that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so wow, I don't know if there's ever been a trouble band more than Motley Crue, man, or maybe Fleetwood Mac, but these guys, what a story. We saw a little bit in the movie, The Dirt, a couple years ago, debuted, and I'm sure that was only half the story. So we thought it'd be cool to talk about, ask a couple of questions, our favorite top 3 Crue songs, and do we think the Crue should hang it up? And I tell you what, I'll go ahead and take a stab at this first. My number 3 Crue song, and wow, I hate to even say this, and I'm a pastor, but it was Shout at the Devil. Not Shout at the Devil, I'm sorry, Looks to Kill. Because it was the first I saw of the Crue. I didn't know of the album before that till later, or the video. When I saw Tommy Lee flipping them sticks and the style he played and that overhand smackdown on the snare, it changed everything about me as a drummer. So for me, not only was I thought the song was cool, but the influence, the impact that it had on my life as a drummer, I can't emphasize enough. He was a one-man show. You watched him as much, if not more, than the other guys, and I wanted to make sure when I played that I drew that much attention, and I learned that from him. And when I saw that video, so I guess that would be my number one. Looks to Kill. Number two would have to be Livewire. Because another impact that it had on my drumming, the cowbell. Them 3 hits and where he puts them was absolutely brilliant. Think, think, think. I mean, it's just total genius, man. There are 2 different speeds, different speeds than the rest of the song. I was blown away when I saw that. And of course, I was known for cowbell for a lot of years. It's amazing I don't hardly play it now, but I threw cowbell in just about everything I played back then. So Livewire was definitely my number 2. And if I had to go with number 3, wow, that's tough. I'm gonna have to go with Too Young to Fall in Love. I thought that was just some of their best cruise sounding stuff. It had everything in it: the drums, the guitar riff, the vocals. I thought was just outstanding in it. One of my favorites. So all the earlier stuff, I really appreciate with them. That's it.
Yeah.
Fish.
Good stuff.
And answer the question, did they hang it up? Yeah, years ago. I'm shocked at the people who went to this last concert and saw them and best show ever. Vince Neil sounds like he's been sucking on helium. Stop it, dude. Stop.
Yeah.
It sounds awful. They should have been hung it up. Tommy Lee didn't play half the tour. He's all banged up. He keeps breaking ribs. Now all the stuff coming out about them lip syncing. You got the stuff with Mick Mars. Just hang it up already. It's done. It's done. All right, go ahead, Fish.
Okay, I guess, as far as songs, I got Too Fast for Love. Yeah, just again off the first album, just the grungy, dirty sound. Just I love that first album. I also have Looks to Kill, Keith. Like I said, there's many reasons there. Like I said, that was the first big video, and seeing them, it was just wow. Yeah, it was just a whole visual experience. That video, so dumb. That video, weird.
It's so dumb, so stupid.
But just the girls, and I thought their look was cool in the video and all that type of stuff. So that was neat. And then I just love this song, 10 Seconds to Love. Just again, a raunchy cruise song.
Like Cooper, yeah.
Just love it. I like the riffs and the hooks and everything in that song. So a lot of the ones to choose from, obviously, but that's great. I'm with you. I like the older stuff.
Yeah, it was hard for me to not put Red Hot in there because it was another introduction to me. That was a double kick, and I was like, whoa, okay, I got to do this, So wow, all the old stuff, man. All right, Skinner, what do you got, babe? Oh, should they hang it up, Fish?
Yes, I'm with you. It's just now you're talking about maybe making new albums, and now there's a question if Vince Neil is going to be the singer anymore. So now what are you going to do? You're going to have the drummer and the bass player with the original guitar player and the original singer out. It just doesn't make a lot of sense anymore. So just move on gracefully. Give us some good stuff. It sounds like you're just forcing it. You're just trying to wring a few bucks out of your fans at this point.
Yeah, at this point, when they got John Corabi, I said, but I listened. He's a phenomenal singer, and I love the fact that they went a different direction with him. I thought that album was outstanding. At least had a couple outstanding songs on it anyway. But now it's just quit. Go ahead, Skinner.
So my favorite album, I've got to go to 1987.
Songs.
Actually, it's 1989 with Dr.
Songs,
Feelgood.
not album.
Well, I'm just telling you, that album has probably had more hits than any of the other albums did collectively. It happened to be the first CD I ever purchased back when the CDs came out. But as far as songs, I got on my list, Kickstart My Heart. is one of my songs. Home Sweet Home is another one. That's just a ballad just a cool ass ballad. I don't know how else to put it. With the keyboards and all that, it was a song that was different back in the day. And I had Looks That Kill for you to also with Shout at the Devil.
Okay.
That's probably my 1B album. Shout at the Devil album was just phenomenal. But if you had to pick my favorite, 1A for me would be Girls, 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 or Dr. Feelgood rather, from that whole album from top to bottom. You can listen to it and not dislike any of the songs on there. So
Yeah, see, I think for guys like me and Fish that started with them early, all that stuff. So some of that stuff's okay, but when you see where they came from with that dirty, grungy sound,
I agree with you.
to some of that fluff stuff, I just can't. It just bothers me. The song "Kickstart My Heart" I think is a brilliant song, and "Wild Side" is brilliant, stuff like that. But when you start getting into girls, 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 and all that. Even right now, Rock Generation plays "Girl Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away," and I'm just like, I wanted to do Red Hot, but so whatever.
I got you.
But I'll give them credit though. With "Home Sweet Home," Motley Crue wrote the formula for success for the heyday of the metal bands, and of course the formula was come out with the most popular track, the most commercial track on your album. Okay, and then you slap them with the ballot. All right, and that's how you draw them in, man. And everybody was making the ballot after that. Gotta have the ballot to show your soft side to the girls. I'm so in love, and you broke my heart. And Scorpions had "Still in Love with You." Winger had "Heading for Heartbreak." I mean, everybody was doing the ballot after that. So it was the formula, and it worked too, man.
It worked.
It worked. So,
great
all right,
video too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, that's all I got for sports and music today. How about some pop culture, Fish?
The Commodore 64 home computer has an unusually large memory. Remember? It also has all the peripherals you're ever likely to need. Monitors, plotters, printers, disk drives, and a vast range of software, which means you'll get so much more enjoyment out of your home computer. The Commodore 64. Remember the enormous memory, but don't forget the peripherals and software.
Okay, so when we get into some Gen X recommendations here, guys, have you watched or listened or anything you wish to recommend to our listeners and viewers? It's going to always start with you this week.
Unfortunately, I have nothing new. We're still continuing trying to watch some old shows that we didn't see when they first come out. We're watching The Mentalist, which I talked about months ago. Great television show. If it's but I did start to watch, or I wanted to see the movie Ghosted. I did hear about that. It's an Apple Plus movie that just came out with Chris Evans. That is on my to-do list. I'm gonna try to fit that one in tomorrow. But Chris Evans, it's one of his. It's the same type of movie. It's an action movie, kicks people's ass, kind of like Captain America did. But there's a girl lead with him that looks to be a badass. So I'm interested in seeing how that one plays out. But it's Ghosted on Apple Plus, Apple TV.
Okay. Keith?
Well, I haven't seen too much that's new. I went off, of course, on last week was the season finale and the show finale or series finale of Picard. And like I said, I just don't have the words to explain how phenomenal. If you're a Trek fan, you could daydream how you would want something to happen. This would be it of every Trek fan, and they gave you everything you could absolutely want as far as that ending to that whole saga. But I'll tell you what I did watch. It is not new. Matter of fact, it's got quite a few seasons underneath it, but I didn't realize how outstanding it was. On Disney Channel, it is the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And I tell you, it is about as entertaining as any movie you could watch almost. Just exceptional work, man. Everything you've seen in the movies, you're watching it right here in the animated series. So if you haven't seen that, start watching that series. If you're a Star Wars fan, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Believe it or
Oh
not.
man, you'll love
I
it,
haven't
man.
either.
Phenomenal.
And
And
obviously, go ahead.
you get the introduction of Ahsoka,
Mm-hmm.
who is Anakin's Padawan, and her series is about to come out. So, be a good way to get introduced to her.
Yeah.
A
Very
real
good.
life series is coming out, being played by what's her name? We know her name. She was in oh man, she was in so many things. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, she's played her on the Mandalorian a couple of times already. Played the
Oh,
role.
did she? Okay, I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, her name's on the tip of my tongue, driving me crazy.
Yep.
It is Ahsoka. Okay, I wasn't pronouncing her name right, and she'll be played by.
This segment brought to you by.
Yeah, I know, right? She'll be played by. And you guys, when I say her name, I'll be like,
my favorite Crew album is. We still
Rosario
talking about
Dawson.
that? Oh yeah, that's right.
Rosario
Okay.
Dawson. Yeah, lovely lady.
There you go.
All
okay.
Right.
Good stuff. Well, something I listened to, guys. Skinner, I thought maybe you listened to it as well. The new Metallica album dropped recently.
Mm-hmm.
72 Seasons dropped on the 14th of April. Solid album. Start to finish, a great album. And you're hearing some of the the last song. It's just one of the better Metallica
Really,
songs.
I got to hear it because I haven't listened to Metallica since the Black Album.
Yeah. No, really?
Yeah. Just
Come
totally
on
lost
now.
interest in them. Totally lost interest in them.
Listen, the last few albums have been very, very good. Death Magnetic, the last album, I can't think of it right now.
Hardwired.
Hardwired, yeah.
Yeah.
Those two.
I just thought
when
obviously when they lost Cliff Burton, they lost their great songwriting. They reinvented themselves. But then when they let Jason Newsted go, I just didn't like the style of the things I heard right after the Black Album. So I lost touch. So that's why I wouldn't know.
No, these last three albums have been fantastic.
Yeah, definitely go check it out for sure. I went to the movies last weekend. I saw the debut of Evil Dead Rise. So I'm a big Evil Dead fan, going all the way back to the early 80s when it launched. One of my favorite horror movie franchises of all time, especially the ones with Bruce Campbell, which he's in most of them, except for the couple that they rebooted. And this one here, so he's a producer with Sam Raimi. It's definitely an Evil Dead movie. It's kind of just a telling of a similar story in a different setting. At the end of the day, it's the same plot. They find this Book of the Dead, and the idiots want to open it up and read passages from it or whatever it is, and releases evil into the world and possesses people, and they become these deadites, and then they just want to kill you and bring other deadites into the world and just continue to wreak havoc. Yeah, and it's super violent, over the top violence, and it's just some dark comedy and things like that. So there's not a lot of go between if you either you like the Evil Dead or you don't so much. I really love the series that's out there, Ash versus Evil Dead. I think it might still be on Netflix. I don't know, but if you're an Evil Dead fan, you will probably find it entertaining. Is it as good with the ones with Bruce Campbell? No, absolutely not. They sort of have the same type of they're trying to maybe introduce a Bruce Campbell type character. So anyways, at the end of the day, it was fun. I wasn't disappointed that I watched it, being a fan. Great series on Netflix. I finished recently Beef. I think I talked about this prior.
Yeah.
So like a 10 episode series. Definitely check this out. Super well written.
I'm 3 episodes in.
Yeah, just very interesting storyline. So Stephen Yun and comedian Ali Wong are the two main people here. Again, the premise basically is these are two people, different, different statuses of life, I guess, different lifestyles, right? And they wind up meeting. There's a whole road rage thing, and then it just sort of tells the story of their lives and how they're connected, and very, very, very good. So check out Beef on Netflix. It's a couple of things that I've watched.
Hey, you mentioned Evil Dead. This has nothing to do with Evil Dead, but Walking Dead. I saw the funniest prop being sold on Amazon today for The Walking Dead. You can buy a bat with barbed wire wrapped around Amazon.
I did that. Good. Yeah, I went as Negan a couple Halloweens years back. So I simply bought a fake baseball bat, like a foam bat, and I bought fake barbed wire and wrapped it around and just did that look with a. I have a similar motorcycle jacket that I own that I bought back in the night. Slicked my hair back. I already have the graying beard and everything. I had a lot of fun. I had people have me pose like I'm batting them over the head and stuff like that when I was out and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Which is my point. Like, you got to order a bat with barbed wire on Amazon. You can't just make that.
You can make it. It's very easy to make.
No. And by the way, Ahsoka will be debuted on Disney Channel in August. Man, the poster for that, Rosario Dawson in the full makeup, is one of the best posters I've ever seen. If you haven't seen that, check that out. It's just her face right up front. It's amazing to see. So looking forward to that series.
Very
all
good.
the Star Wars and Star Trek stuff you can throw at me, man. I'm on it.
Very good. Yeah, and by the way, on that too, I'm finishing the season finale of Mandalorian as I was watching it tonight prior to this episode.
I would love to hear what you think. It's getting a lot of flack on the internet. There's lots of flack. People are just don't like season 3 at all. They said they've gotten away from and they have gotten away from what had made it special. It was a little different. You got a lot of other characters now, so you can't focus on Din Djarin and of course little Grogu. But I love the extra stuff and extra characters. So I'd like to hear what you think.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's just like there's only so much you could do with just the Mandalorian running around with Grogu. There's only so much you could do with that storyline.
You milked that for 2 seasons, man.
Yeah. No,
I thought it was great seeing all the other Mandalorians and how they, you got 2 camps following 2 different creeds. I've loved it. So I don't know what people are talking about.
I think it's great, and it's setting up they've announced 3 new Star Wars movies that's going to be working through. They're going to set them in different timelines. One's going to be about the first Jedi. The other one's going to be in this timeline with the Mandalorian. So I guess it's supposed to kind of bring those storylines together. I think you'll probably see those characters in this movie about the New Republic and how it falters, and then the rise of the New Order and all that type of stuff. And then there's another one they're making. Daisy Ridley comes back to reprise her role of Rey. It's going to be set so many years after the sequels. So I like that approach. It's fun. But anyways, I like this timeline. Like you say, I love seeing all the Mandalorians flying around. And
that was awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
They're just dropping out of ships in the sky. Man, it's cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like it. Okay, guys. So just there's many things as we get older in Gen X that every time you turn around, something makes you feel your age a little bit. I think sometimes our generation, I don't know about you, but try to, probably all generations probably go through it where we try to be still young at heart and try to be cool and this and that and the other. And then something happens, there's something new that just makes you, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. So there's a new term out there now, baby girl, that is meant to, it's describing certain male actors. So Pedro Pascal actually plays a Mandalorian. He's been called a baby girl online. So what the exact term means, I don't know that they've really necessarily defined it, but it's like young girls calling a certain mature man or actor or something like that. So they're saying like, "Oh, he's so baby girl," and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't get it. Not sure. It just I read that article today, and it just I don't know. This makes me feel.
Crazy.
Of course, I have mixed emotions with that. One is I don't understand it.
Right.
On the other side of it, if someone called me baby girl, I would think that would be pretty cool. I'm not saying I fit that category.
Well, I know a bar you
whatsoever.
could go to and somebody will call you that.
How's that?
Yeah, we won't go there.
If you like that, I can hook you up, buddy.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Mr. Porter dragging me to certain establishments that I had no idea where the hell I was going.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. You shut your mouth, Skinner. You shut your hole.
Yeah.
Keith almost lost his life that night going to that one establishment he took me to.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, we've been to some crazy places over the years. Absolutely.
Okay, so this. Yeah. Happy birthday, Skinner.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh yeah, thanks. Okay, so anyway,
out of here. Yep.
Yeah, I gotta run. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway,
don't ask.
This is what I got, Fish. Please don't ask people. Baby girl, a term of endearment for when a man is being cute, comfortable in his masculinity,
there you go,
or weak in an evocative way.
Okay.
No, you ain't calling me baby girl. No, forget that crap. You listen. We've got enough problems in this country with the femininity of men. You know, we have been emasculated. We've emasculated ourselves. We got men wearing skirts. We got men taking on the characteristic traits of women. We have lost so much of our men. One of my favorite memes out there is the one that shows a big lion and it says, "This is who men used to be." Then it shows a lion with a man bun ponytail. So this is who we are now. I love that. You know, I'm not trying to knock anybody, kick anybody, whatever, but we got enough problems in this country with the identity of men, the lines being blurred. You ain't about to call me no freaking baby girl, Jack. I don't care how cute you think I'm being. You know, I don't know where these people come up with this crap. Baby girl. So what's a cute woman being? Doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know.
That's
you call me baby girl, you're gonna get punched in your mouth.
That's sexist, and you're going to be called to HR for calling somebody a good-looking woman.
Mm-hmm. Baby girl.
She's so baby girl. Yep. All right. AI is becoming more and more popular. It's just amazing what
it's scary.
Yeah, what the technology can do. So, we've talked about prior episodes. There's new search engines out there. So Google has one called Bard. Microsoft has another one, and the name escapes me on there, where you're asking it questions and it's giving you answers instead of just doing a traditional search. You can also I've also messed around with a chat to GPT. It's all open. It's free. You can go play around with these there and ask it questions, and it's just amazing the answers that it gives you right away. It does warn you. All these warn you that it's not necessarily accurate all the time, so you got to be careful. But I was a Chat GPT, and then the other one is Google Bard, BARD. You can check those out, and then Microsoft has a search as well. Just look up chat AI searches or something. You could find these here. So I was messing around with the Chat GPT the other day. I was asking the questions like, "What's the best Star Wars movie?" And again, it says, it's subjective answer, but many consider Empire Strikes Back the best, and it kind of gives you a conversation that you could use if you're looking to use it on a show like this or what have you. Anyway, there's also AI art apps out there that you can find for free. And you type in, you can either upload an image and it'll give you different versions of your image, or it You can describe what you want to see, and it gives you like a painting, artwork within seconds. Some of it doesn't make any sense, but a lot of it does. Just really fascinating stuff here. But there's some concern out there that people are using it for, I'm going to say inappropriate things. You just got to be mindful of what you're listening to. So there was
somebody's going to pervert it. You already know that.
Yeah, there was a song out there recently. It sounded like it was Drake and The Weeknd singing apparently, and it was becoming pretty popular on streaming. But it was an AI generated song. So somebody must have described, give me a song written by Drake and The Weeknd, and then somehow you could set up voices to make it sound like people. Just fascinating
that's scary. Or, I mean,
stuff.
we're getting in a time where you don't know what's real anymore.
Right.
And I saw a robot, an AI, the other day, and I tell you what, man, in the right setting, this could have passed for a human being.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing, the facial structures, the way it was moving, and you see some of these little videos, you don't know what's real and not real. People saying, "Well, this was it was malfunctioning, it was a clone, or it was this or that, whatever," and it just makes you wonder sometimes, putting a stand-in somewhere in a situation where they don't have to do much. If you're seeing this technology and you know that everything we see relate to the party, you have to be softened up to the idea,
Mm-hmm.
before you just introduce something in society. Homeostasis. You can't just change the environment like that. But if you start introducing the idea, people kind of soften up to it a little bit, then you come out with it. So who knows what type of technology is really, really out there. Man, it makes you wonder.
Yeah, absolutely. Recent article or two, there was a guy, Barry Endrewick. He has 300,000 TikTok followers, and he's using
Wow.
AI to help write scenes from the Gilmore Girls. So he's like described the characters, and it's apparently writing scenes as if the show was continuing, and he's putting that information out there, and it's gaining popularity. He's not claiming that he wrote it or anything like that. So he had to have the mindset and a wherewithal to kind of set this up properly.
Maybe we can get AI to write monologue for our show.
Absolutely. Sure. I've asked the questions in general, like, what are good discussion topics for a pop culture podcast? What is a good outline? And it gives you stuff that just, it makes sense.
Yeah, we've asked you that too, so whatever.
Yeah, I got to start using that as well. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yep. One of these days, one of us will be replaced by AI, perhaps, and maybe one of us is now.
Me,
Yeah.
me, me.
Well, if we replace Skinner, Keith, you might get the questions right, the discussion topics right, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Marcy would know if we replace Skinner.
I didn't hear one thing about Nicolas Cage this whole episode. It's already.
That's true.
Yeah.
Who are you? Here. And what you do with Mike?
I listened to. I mentioned this before. I think it was when Drew Carey has a weekly radio show on Sirius XM. It's a very fun radio program. He just plays his own, songs and everything. But he did an episode recently where it was an AI chat, and it was his voice, but it was the AI introducing the songs.
Okay.
So it sounded like Drew Carey talking, but you could tell it was not a human cadence. Amazing. Or you know what I mean. But it was Drew Carey talking and introducing every song, giving you facts about it and things like that. So just very interesting where this thing can do. Anyway,
I got to tell you a quick funny story about Saturday night at the Elvis Impersonator. So for those of you watching the video, you see Skinner sitting there in his studio. Well, his studio is a few feet from his bedroom. There has been times when he has referenced his fiancée, Miss Marcy, as I call her, a few feet away from him. And so I was just thinking about her hearing some of the subject matter coming out of, from Mike, we talk about. So the other night I went, you know what, Marcy, sometimes I just imagine you sitting there in the bed and grandma turned around and everybody's staring. Well, wait a minute. Let me fix this up. What I meant
thing was the old man at the other table turned around and said, "What are you talking about?"
And the first thing these idiots said, and he's a pastor, the guy goes, "What church?"
They might have gained a new churchgoer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I said, "Hey, no, I imagine what you sit in the bed, what you must be thinking when you hear some of this stuff." So yeah, that didn't come out right.
That's where AI could have come useful for you. That's for sure.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right, more social media news here, guys. So Twitter, you may have heard this story that they're taking down the blue check, the verified check, unless people pay for it. Now, for whatever reason, they did keep the check on certain higher volume followers. Like there's a few out there. Like I saw Charlie Sheen, and there's a few people that they did manage to keep their blue check, but a lot of people lost it. A lot of some very prominent figures, and there's already, as some people were worrying, there's fake accounts cropping up already. So it's just something where, one was like an emergency service out of New York as well. Somebody showed this as an example where it was the actual service, and somebody made a fake account to parody the real one. So it's like if you're following in the New York area, and you're going to have to pay attention if something is real or fake. So some of this could potentially be a little bit dangerous depending on the content that these fake accounts are putting out there. So I don't quite get I don't quite get, nothing else to do. That's right. I don't quite get the strategy to remove the verification, other than trying to make a few bucks out of people. But a lot of these big name stars and well-known people are saying, I'm not going to pay for this. I'm not going to give you money to keep my check out there. So I don't know. Any thoughts of this, Keith? What do you think? Is this something that potentially can really hurt Twitter? Is this dangerous out there, or does it matter too much? What do you think?
I could care less. I don't tweet. I always says tweets are for twits. Just don't bother with Twitter. So I could care less. All I'll say is this: if it's less of a security measure, then it's absolutely stupid. Right now, that is the biggest problem with social media. One of the biggest problems, and that's the security. Facebook is really getting ridiculous with the profiles getting hacked. And, it went from people saying hi, trying to pretend they're your friends, to this. I don't know if you've seen this new one now. Hey, this person that died, I think you know them. Playing on your emotion, and you click the link, and now your account's been hacked or something like that. And I think that's really, really lame. So if it's a security risk, if you're making less security on any social media site, absolutely stupid.
I agree. Skinner, what do you think?
I don't know much about it. I follow Twitter somewhat, but I didn't really pay attention to what that blue check is. But I agree. I do agree with Porter. If it's a security measure and things are not secure or less secure now with what's going on, then that's not a good thing. Like he said, social media it's a dangerous place if you're not careful. And I saw the same thing with Charlie Sheen bashing Elon Musk for taking down his blue check, and then comes back a day or two later and says, "Thank you. You must have, you granted my wish," or whatever the hell it was he said. So I don't quite understand what that was all about, but if it's to keep things secure, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, there was a process that I don't know how quite you went about it, but certainly it was more for people that had a larger following, sort of more prominent figures. There was a certain verification method that they went through. It was some type of I don't know how complicated it was, but they basically went through a process to verify that it was actually that account, that was actually that person. So when you see the blue check mark for a certain public figure or otherwise, then you've had more confidence that this is the real LeBron James on the verified one. It's not some fake account that's out there that's, putting stuff out there that, sounds like it may or may not be LeBron James. Now you have to pay more attention. I mean, certainly there'll be things that might be giveaways as far as the number of followers people have, look at past tweets and things like that. But you have to do more legwork and research as a casual user to pay more attention of which is the real account.
Yeah.
So, it could be pretty damaging for some of these people as well.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't even bother with it, man. I mean, even on Facebook, you send me a friend request. I'm not sure who you are or whatever. I send you a message. Do I know you? Tell me why and how. And I mean, anymore, man. If you can't FaceTime somebody, I don't trust nothing anymore.
Yeah.
Talk to me in my face. I don't understand these commercials. I was talking to my sister last night. I don't get these products that they're selling. They show the family, the mom and dad and the little kid, and they get this stuff in a box. You set up your little camera and a little screen. And, you can talk to grandma face to face. You can talk to so-and-so. What kind of idiots are buying these products? That's on every single phone. Go on Messenger video. Go on FaceTime. Really? You got to buy a system? I don't get it.
All right. So another thing that's making us maybe feel a little bit older, I don't know. Netflix has announced that they are winding down a part of their business where they got started. And who even knew they were still actually mailing DVDs? So they still have that service. They still have a lot of subscribers that do that. Some probably out of necessity. Some probably do it out of nostalgia. I don't know, but they haven't went to the streaming, perhaps. I'm not sure. But they are winding down the DVD portion of their business. So it's going to wind down in September 29th of this year. So that's it.
The streaming portion.
Not the streaming portion, the DVD portion. So they
I
still
thought that
have
was
a
been
service.
Gone.
Nope. So they still have the online ability to select DVDs and they mail them to you. Then you mail it, all that stuff where they really got their start to begin with.
Yeah, they sure did. Amazing.
So, yep. You'll never know, but just an interesting trivia. By the way, the very first DVD sent was Beetlejuice. Back in its time. So I can't remember the last time I rented a DVD or went to the Redbox or anything like that. I mean, it was something where I hung on to the rentals, even as streaming was getting more popular for many years. I still like the nostalgia part of it. I like when Peyton was little. I still like taking her down to the little local video store and walking down the aisles and picking out a movie. I just thought that was, plus it was a good way to see what was out there. I don't know. So I missed that in some respects, but these days to think about going back to that with the convenience of streaming, even though it's a little bit more expensive, I just can't even. I just can't even imagine the old movie rental and handling DVDs anymore.
I know, right?
So, yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on the DVD rentals or versus streaming? Anything else, there, guys, on that?
Not much.
Okay.
No, I'm with you. I didn't know they were still doing it.
Yep. Okay, guys, this week of pop culture history. Again, we're shooting this on Monday, April the 24th. On April 23rd, 1985, one of the biggest product bombs of all time happened. New Coke was put on the shelves for the first time. So I know we've talked about this before. Just if you can go back and listen to sales pitches and meetings over the years, so to me, I would have loved to have been in that room where you have whoever trying to convince the executives of Coca-Cola that here's a great idea to change the formula of the original Coca-Cola and come out with something completely different. Of course, it bombed quickly, and then they had to quickly put classic Coke out there in addition to new Coke for about 10 minutes. And of course, it went away completely and just went back to the original Coca-Cola. So do you guys remember trying New Coke? Were you a
Oh, without
fan? Is this one
question,
of the
it's
dumbest
huge.
ideas of all time? Yeah, what do you think, Keith?
Yeah, I remember it because I remember such a big deal with adults. I wasn't no big Coke drinker, but I remember all the hoi polloi about it. So I certainly tried it, and personally, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic because I was a kid and I wasn't no Coke drinker, and it wasn't as harsh.
Yep.
Being older now, I certainly would prefer real Coke over it. But as a kid, I said, "Oh, this is sweeter. This is a little bit better." I dig it, man. So it was a really, really big deal. I remember people flipping out about it. I was like, what's the big deal? It's pretty good. I got older and I kind of understood a little bit better.
Skinner, now you even collect Coca-Cola memorabilia. You're such a Coke person. So do you remember the New Coke? What do you think of this whole campaign?
I was 15 when that all came out, and I remember it like it was yesterday. The adults lost their minds. That I do remember. I don't remember the taste difference between the two because I didn't really drink Coke at the time. I became a Coke collector when I went into the military. Got stuff all over the world. That's when I became a Coke drinker. So I just remember all the hoopla, and that was before internet, of course. Even back then, all the everybody hated the new Coke and boycotting buying Coca-Cola until they bring the old formula back, and then that lasted a year, I
they were
think.
really bad, right?
Yeah, it was about a year it lasted, and they brought the other stuff back. So,
and I won't put none of that pea water in my body now.
I'd like to see them, like they sometimes they bring back some of these offshoot, beverages for a limited time for nostalgia or otherwise. Like Pepsi came back out with not long ago. They had the clear Pepsi again. Remember the clear Pepsi campaign they did?
That was weird.
They were selling that in the stores for a minute. They had Pepsi. I think it was Pepsi Free or something like that. It was so sometimes you see these. I'd like to see them come back out temporarily with a new Coke and just go back and try it. Just who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe today it would be a hit along with all the other Coke, flavors and everything they have out there with Coke Zero.
Why not?
And this and
It's
that
no
and
big
other.
deal now, right? No big deal, right?
Yeah,
but you're not talking about replacing. You're just talking about having it out there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Oh, interesting concept.
I don't drink that much pop these days anyway. But anyway, okay, 1982. Jane Fonda released her home workout video, and certainly this thing took off big time. If you all know the picture, I'm sure, of Jane Fonda with laying there with her legs in the air with the leg warmers and all that. This was like the whole launch of the home workout craze, the fashion and everything else. She really led the way. So just an ingenious.
Young men lost their minds.
Absolutely. I mean, she was still is a beautiful woman, but certainly back then. Just everything, the whole look, just an ingenious marketing concept here, in my opinion. So, not that I ever owned it, not that I ever watched it, but certainly I'm sure it just killed it. It was number one. The book along with it was the number one bestseller for more than 6 months. So, just kind of gave her a resurgence in her career and just big time. Shortly after that, then you started to see like the different programs out there, jazzercise and this and that and the other. So all these ladies were getting out of the house and exercise and everything.
4 more, 3 more, 3 more. I'm sitting there, 13 years old, like this. Mommy.
Hey man, we had to scavenge if we wanted to see any type of the women on video or something like that. At our generation, man, we had to go look for stuff. It wasn't that simple for us.
Right, it wasn't simple at all.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, I don't know. Did your moms own the video? I mean, obviously you remember watching at least some of it or what have you. So what do you think of the whole campaign? Keith, what do you think about the Jane Fonda's workout
that
program?
was the revolution of the young white woman. So no, my mom didn't have that. That was a white girl thing, true and true. I mean, very, very serious. I give her credit. Like you said, the marketing was genius, and it launched an entire revolution of workout videos and TV shows after that. I
Sure.
mean, you got to just think the massive amount of money, not just the videos and the TV shows, but the look, the leotards with the spandex, the leg warmers. They couldn't keep that stuff in stores, man. I
Sure.
remember there used to be spandex stores. How do I know? I used to buy stuff for band shows and pictures and stuff. I used to go into the women's spandex stores, you know. They had complete stores for just this stuff.
Yeah.
And Jane Fonda started all that, man. It was a craze, man. A home workout. You know, it was something. Marketing genius.
Yep, absolutely. Skinner, any thoughts on the whole Jane Fonda thing?
I got nothing more to add. I couldn't say any more than what Keith just said. It was a craze that went crazy, and you know, it was a revolution that changed in home workouts, especially for the white girl, like you said.
Absolutely. I know my mom got into all that stuff back then as well. Time for jazzercise. Mom's a jazzercise.
Time for jazzercise.
Yeah, or all that stuff. Yep.
Red beans and rice didn't miss it.
That's right. April 26th, back in 2011, The Voice debuted for the first time. I can't believe it's been on the air that long.
That's crazy.
So certainly was kind of a
wow.
competing thing with American Idol. It's a different take on a singing competition. Not really watched it. I mean, I was a big American Idol fan personally for a long time. I don't know. The singing shows for me has kind of lost its luster, and I tend to gravitate more to the America's Got Talent and all that, seeing different types of talent out there, but not really a Voice fan. Keith, did you watch The Voice? Are you a Voice fan, a singing show fan in general?
I started off hating all those shows. Then after a few years, I started watching the first couple of weeks of the America's Got Talent because of the funny, weird singers you would get, pants going out, pants on the ground, that type of stuff.
Right.
I would watch for that, but that was about it. And The Voice, I said, oh my gosh, we got American Idol, we got all this other crap. Why do we need another one for? But my mom and sister were watching religiously. I saw how it's done differently. It's got a kind of a different spin on it and everything. So just coming in the house tonight, my sister had it on, and I watched it for 3 or 4 minutes. Somebody will catch my eye, or the comments between the judges, ripping on each other would be funny. And that's about it. Watching a whole episode, I might be done a couple times in my whole life, if that. But catch my attention for a few minutes. But just never something I've followed or whatever. This year at American Idol, I've watched more of that than I probably have my life. I just love the dynamic of the show right now. I just don't have time to sit and watch the whole show, but I will catch quite a bit of it. The singing's been phenomenal. The judges, I think they have right now, are phenomenal. But all that type of stuff has just been, to me, like, I'm more of an America's Got Talent type of guy as well. You see all kind of different things you've never seen before. And just the singing thing sometimes gets old. I love great singing, but, sometimes that gets a little bit old.
Yeah, I'm with you. Skinner, what do you think of The Voice? Are you a fan or no, or what do you think?
I remember when it first came out, I was never a big Idol fan. I thought it was a popularity contest more than it was a singing contest. But The Voice, when they come out and they audition and you don't see the person, I thought that was pretty ingenious. Made things different, so you're not looking at the person to, you're not going to vote for this person because she's cute or he's handsome or whatever the case may be. You're there
Very
for
smart.
that voice, and I thought that was a fantastic premise for the show. I watched it for a few years, but I haven't watched it for quite a while. I know all the original cast members have come and gone. Adam Levine and Blake Shelton, I know, were two big two of the biggest judges there for a long period of time.
Yeah, and this is
Neither
Blake
one are
Shelton's
there
last
now.
season. Yeah, Blake Shelton's still there.
Oh, he is still there, but
Yeah,
he
this is
officially
last
quitting
season.
though.
Yeah, this is last
So,
season.
but yeah, I've watched that show, and they've had quite a few acts that have come out of that show and made it big on the radio. So kudos to them. And yeah, I haven't watched much of The Idol, but I hear it's a lot better now that it's not on Fox.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. The concept is interesting to where that's, you're right. They are literally judging by the voice first, and you're right. That did create a lot of uniqueness to that show.
I'll say this too: the judges
ahead.
have been different throughout the years. I'll watch a little more depending on who the judges are if I find them interesting. I thought when Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton were both on there, and they were engaged. I thought that dynamic was pretty funny and interesting. It was cool. But I'll say this: I love catching the clips of The Voice in other countries on the internet. I enjoy that more than I like watching The Voice because it's a lot looser. And you hear people coming out, and for their songs, they're doing Evanescence. I seen a guy doing Judas Priest. I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I kind of dig it when it's overseas.
Yeah.
That's not so restrictive,
Right. Very good. All right. I don't necessarily need comments on this. I just thought it was interesting. Back in 1981, Xerox introduced the computer mouse.
Wow.
And why was it called a mouse? Because it resembled a mouse. Very simple as that. So it had the cord and plugged in. Of course, now most are wireless these days. That is just a very simple invention. Of course, I don't know how simple it is, but I can't use a computer easily at all without that mouse. I'm so accustomed to that. I don't like the pad where you select and all that type of stuff. It slows me down. It's not very efficient. I think that device definitely increased the efficiency of using a computer by I don't know how much. So,
yeah. Depends on year, I guess. I have mastered the small square pad. When I got my first laptop, it had the small square pad. And I would be, as I first started my photography business in 2006, I'd be up 4 or 5 in the morning doing pictures. And people would be amazed how my big hands would work. I tell you, when I first got a mouse, I was lost. But because I spent years learning how to maneuver on this little small square space with my big fingers, and I became used to it now. So I'm either way now. Because I have a laptop with the square pad. I got a desktop with the computer, iPad, phone. So I just kind of mastered them all now. But yeah, I didn't know no different too much,
They now make Bluetooth powered mice as well, so you could use it on your iPad, your tablet, or whatever. I don't have one of those, but I did buy I did buy a Bluetooth keyboard that I use. Even working on podcast stuff and all that. It just takes it to another level. But I don't know. Are you a mouse user, Skinner? Do you prefer to use a mouse versus just the pad on your computer?
I use both, but I've actually have the mouse here on my desk at home for work, and then I also have a mouse at my desk at work because I primarily work from home, and I've got these little dongles all over my computer. So, for the headset, I got 2 of these, one for each of the mouse. But yeah, I can use the keypad or the keypad down there, but it does slow me down, like Keith was saying. Or like you were saying, it slows me down. So I prefer the mouse, but I can use the keypad and get around just fine.
Okay. All right. Okay. And finally, here, guys, in April 28th, back in 1973, this particular album had a 741-week chart run at the top. Pretty amazing. I don't think we're ever going to see anything like that again. And then once it fell off the top, it still continued to chart for 900 weeks. Get your head around that. How many years is 900 weeks? That was
almost
Pink
3.
Floyd. Yeah, Pink Floyd. What?
Almost 3 years.
3 years. 3 years, that's 150
Oh, no,
weeks.
you're right. That's 150.
Give or take. Yeah.
Thanks.
Several years.
Right, yeah. Several
years. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Dean asked me on the podcast what year I graduated. I couldn't figure out how many years I was out of high school by doing simple math,
Right.
which is 36 years. I couldn't say, okay, I got an 87 to 23. I couldn't do
carry
it quickly in
3
my head. Yeah, at all.
times
Anyway,
5.
yeah, exactly. It was Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon was that album. So just phenomenal. Obviously, record sales and charting and all
Yeah.
that, it's much different then as it is now. But certainly that album, I don't know if we're going to see anything like that longevity ever again. I don't remember the last time I listened to it. I don't know if I ever listened to it start to finish completely. Now that I talk
I know I haven't.
I never did the whole syncing up with the Wizard of Oz and all that weird stuff that people say you could do.
No,
Like
never
you
did
start
that.
the album at a certain time with the movie, and then it's supposed to sync up to the movie and this and that and the other.
No.
So, well, you're kind of answering it now, Keith, a little bit. Are you a fan of the album? You haven't listened to the whole thing. It sounds like.
I got to be honest with you. I don't get it. Don't get me wrong. Excellent musicians.
Mm-hmm.
They got an amazing sound. They developed this whole sound. What goes into it is pretty impressive. I just don't get the fanfare that they get. I got to see them live at the old Cleveland Browns Stadium before it got tore down. And I got to be honest with you, if you're not on drugs, I don't see what the appeal is. I never got so bored in all my days, man. I was a different person back then, and we went in the bathroom and some things got passed around, and it got a lot more interesting after being there an hour and a half. But I got to tell you what, I was so bored, and Pink Floyd reminds me of Adele. I love Adele. I love her voice. And if she didn't sing love songs, I would put her right in the category of Pink Floyd. But there's never that real excitement level. You never reach that excitement level. Everything's kind of right here in the middle a little bit.
Yeah.
All Pink Floyd song was pretty much the same speed, the same, and I was just like, so I don't know, man. I don't get it. It sounds great. They got some great hits. I just don't get it.
Never did. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I was with Keith. I was never really a huge fan of their music. Don't hate it. I won't turn it off if it comes on the radio, but I never seeked it out either. But I wasn't a drug user, so I guess that's probably why I got bored with it, because I didn't understand it at the level of some other people that are fans of the music did.
Yeah, I would venture to guess in the early 70s like that probably was a factor in that album running so long that people probably said, hey, you gotta do ABC and listen to this album and experience it this way or that way or whatever. I'm sure that was a factor in its popularity for so long. But again, just that longevity, never going to see that again, I don't think. No. I don't know if it's even possible anymore with with the streaming and everything else. I don't know. So it sold over 45 million copies of the album.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the show, the light show was phenomenal. It was crazy, all that stuff. It just went on and on and on and on and on and on. And they don't do like an hour, 20-minute concerts. They do like 2.5-hour things. I don't know how people can put up with it that long, man.
Yep.
I don't want to hear nobody that long. I don't care how much I love you. I don't want to hear nobody that long.
That's right. That's right. Well, on that note, before we become a Pink Floyd concert here, people do want to listen to us, maybe longer than Pink Floyd.
Emails.
Yeah, and if you don't find us that entertaining, I don't know, maybe consider, as you might prepare to listen to Dark Side of the Moon. I don't know. We're not advocating anything. So I know at least Skinner's more entertaining at the very least. I know that for sure.
There you go.
Yep. All right. So before we wrap up this episode, Keith, any announcements, sir?
Just a couple. One, don't forget the Rock Generation show coming up next month in May. Looking forward to that. It's going to be at Stinger's, Harley Davidson in Medina. That's going to be Friday, May 26th. outdoor early show, 6 to 8. We'll be doing 2 sets, debuting our new singer, Pat Moran. We're very excited about that and working very, very hard. Also, too, I just want to invite everybody, go on kitchenrockstar.net, to internet radio station. It is a radio station / cooking station. Local guys that I know do some cooking on there. You can also pull them up on YouTube, but they feature a lot of cool music and they feature a lot of local artists on this show too. Rockstarkitchen.net, the debut of my band Rock Generation. Last year we recorded the song Rock On by David X's. If you remember, that song came out in 1973. We did our own version of the song, recorded it. It's actually being debuted on that station as we speak. So check out, we're a tribute band, we're a cover band, but we did remake a song and recorded it, and it's on rockstarkitchen.net. Check that out, or you can check it out on our Facebook page as well.
Very good. And as always, you can hear me also on our brother podcast, Convincing Idiots with Dean and Nick. Pop culture fun every week. Also on all podcast platforms and our YouTube channel at Convincing Idiots. We're also on the Bosco Media TV network. Skinner, any announcements before you take us out? Episode 106, please, sir.
Do not just make sure that the capital of the country is prepared for the Skinners to come invade the area this weekend.
Let me call
them. But nope, other than that, just another week of preparation for May 13th, and excited to have family from all across the country coming into town for that special day. So that's all I have. So for Brian Fisher and Keith Porter, I am Michael Skinner. For the guys from GenX, we appreciate you. We will talk to you again next week. Stay strong, fellas and gals.
Don't forget the gals, man.
Hey, Fish here from It Came From GenX with Skinner and Keith. For every like and subscribe, you may win a free 1-year subscription to the AARP.